Wizworld, how do you feel about Conan the Destroyer? I hated it when I saw it, and I have yet to reevaluate it because I was just...
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Also, for those who may have never seen Conan the Barbarian, it is a heavy influence on The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in particular. That game was a return to a more mature-ish looking or real-ish looking Zelda after Wind Waker, and like Midna's helmet and a few of the kind of like motifs throughout the ruins and such in that game are very evocative of the Conan O'Brien art production or production design. Yeah, I remember Conan. The one thing I remember about Conan the Destroyer that I would look forward to in a rewatch is like there's a lot of goofy, fun stuff going on as far as productions and colors go. I remember there's like a monster that comes out of a mirror he fights, right? And it's kind of like it's kind of a goofy foam. It's not the most articulate costume, but I do remember it being pretty funny.
Yeah, I sort of look at it as one of the lesser short stories, like you're not mad you're right, but it's no Tire of the Elephant.
You know what? That's a good way to contextualize it. Here's the thing. I didn't grow up with Robert E. Howard. I was kind of a latecomer to him in the same way I was with Star Trek. So, like, I did see Conan the Barbarian, the movies first, and I understood it was not the same as the books. Although, like, some of the Marvel comics seem to understand. He has some intelligence under his brain, and he's like, you know, quiet and stoic more than stupid.
He's not all brawn.
There's some pretty famous panels you can find of Conan having dinner with Dr. Doom, and the two have a mutual respect. I've never read any of the comics besides some of the stuff I've seen cited, although some of the epic collections that I've seen collected are tempting me.
Yeah. Oh, the Doom stuff was from that run.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, good to know.
Good to know.
Arnold and Robert Downey Jr. in a scene together, honestly, that would be pretty funny.
Honestly, since we've been talking about A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones, Nicholas Cocktail Waldau, I think. Is that Jamie Lannister's actor's name? Is that how you pronounce that? Chat, can you check that out for me? He is my ideal casting for Dr. Doom. I think he could surprise people, and if there was like any legit juice still in the MCU enterprise, they would have gambled on something like that. Yes, alas. I forget what ethnicity he is precisely, but I remember people mentioning it would be fitting given Doom's background. But also, I think he has the chops in him, and I think he would enjoy the ham of it. Because if you've seen like the movies, he loves being in some direct to Redbox style action movies. I think
he's open to it.
I think he loves the sense of play. Like, I'm not saying he loves being in bad movies. I'm saying he probably loves the sense of play those kind of movies permit. He's Danish, okay.
Well, that explains it. Danish people are very playful.
But yeah, given that he's familiar, he would be familiar enough as Jaime Lannister, which even if people hate, like, or have hateful feelings about the ending of Game of Thrones, I think they'd still be fond for him. I don't know, I think they could have done things there. I also think, like Dr. Doom, Jaime Lannister, at least before the start of the series, is very much, you know, upholding the Kingslayer, like owning the bad boy, perfect swordsman image. Yeah, exactly. It's not his fault. Like, Game of Thrones sucks.
Nope.
Although, I think it makes sense. My hot take is you can see Game of Thrones falling apart like in season 4, and if you're not sounding any alarms before the final season, you're kind of you don't realize you're in boiling water already.
Yeah. You could just feel it.
Especially because season 5 did so much like supplemental B-plot stuff that was like instantly resolved and was clearly only written so that the episodes could have cliffhangers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or it was just like extended Theon torture.
And then just like the very rushed ending of the last season because it was like, let's get out of here.
Right. Again, they only read the wiki.
Yeah. God. Oh, it was painful. But I will rewatch it in 4K. Can't wait.
I think the earliest it really is like, hey, you didn't jump the shark, but like you're circling the ramp. I can see you circling the ramp. Please get away from the ramp. Pod the Rod. When Podrick Payne has his little hung boy adventure, I was just like, what the fuck is this show becoming?
Oh,
like,
wonderful. Well, you got to find ways to bring nudity too.
I raised an eyebrow when Littlefinger was doing the sex position, but yeah, that Pod the Rod just whole hog bit, I was skeptical of.
So dumb. So wonderful. He's like a king guard at the end, isn't he? All because of his massive rod.
Yeah. He just
That's the patriarchy at work.
See,
right
that's the exact kind of like magical thinking you need though to think about like, well, how do I win in this system? Like if you're trying to take what J.R.R. Martin is doing with his story, and like come up with an ending to it, and you're less aware of like the waters you're swimming in than J.R.R. Martin is with like the neoliberal protagonism stuff, you're just gonna write up straight up dissonant fantasies like that, where it's like, and then the hungest boy became like king of the land because he did a good job banging the sex workers, I guess. You get that kind of magical stuff. It's why Bronn can't quit. There's something sinister to that. Like Bronn gets to walk out of the story in the books, but like he's in perpetual employment to the show because of like the demands of the TV show.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's real good with that rod.
Which again is why, even if it remains unfinished book-wise, like there's enough just weird material to be squeezed out of what you can read from Game of Thrones as a work of art.
That reminded me of when the show Euron keeps fucking threatening to fuck Cersei with his massive cock.
I completely forgot how much Euron sucks in the show, but boy, they make you really hate one of the most coolest villains.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the most performatively coolest villains. The villain putting up one of the best faces right now. I don't know if I buy into him being as big a threat as they say he is, but they're also just like he is like, he allegedly has like a dragon binding horn and stuff.
Gotcha. He says he's cool.
Yeah, his cousin says he's cool. His nephew says he's cool.
Yeah.
Who would they hire Sanderson? I don't know. Would Sanderson want to?
Who's Sanderson?
Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn, right? He's a very prolific fantasy writer.
Gotcha.
He also has a YouTube channel where he does like vlogs and lectures and creative writing tips and courses.
Just say, how funny would it be, like how like Hollywood has like
he's Mormon. I was about to bring up his Mormonism too as well, because like isn't his routine literally like he just sleeps a lot and then does writing and then like his wife does the rest? Yeah. Wizworld's bringing up the important shit too. Like he's got some like tithing to an anti-LGBTQ church.
Oh yeah, don't want that. Wife is like the CEO of his company. Yeah, that sounds like that probably will go well.
Power couple.
Sure, all on the up.
But yeah. Yeah. So you see, if George.R.R. Martin's at least aware of where he is in neoliberalism, I think Sanderson, and one of the reasons I maybe have been slow to like explore his stuff, and I don't know, I have so much else on my bookshelf right now, is just because like this kind of stuff makes me skeptical of like if it's just kind of like fun and plotty, but kind of protagonist brained in a way I find boring or unengaging. And that brings to mind J.K. Rowling. That's right, we're going there. If we're talking fantasy, if we're talking George.R.R. Martin, if we're talking Brandon Sanderson, I want to talk J.K. Rowling as well, because this brings something to mind to me. You know, I'm talking about, like, I've read stuff that's kind of ick to me about Sanderson. I'm aware of him. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to actually engage his books, just because, like, time and, like, I'll read books by people I disagree with or have problems if I think there's something in there I'm really curious about, and Sanderson's never really struck me as that. You know what? It probably would be, like, Joe Abercrombie, and I don't know if I gave Joe Abercrombie a fair shot, but again, like Sanderson, I don't know if I really need to or want to go back. He felt like what I'm describing with Sanderson, like it's plotty, but like, I don't know, Abercrombie, it felt very just straightforward adventure novel in a way I didn't find engaging. I got kind of bored with it really fast. I don't know if that's pretentious of me or like if I'm too minded of like what can I mine from metaphor or like interworld, like real world intertext or context for, but yeah, Sanderson and Abercrombie, two fantasy authors y'all are bringing up that I know people who read and talk about, and I see their names plenty because they do have fandoms, and I haven't felt engaged with them. And to roll this back around to J.K. Rowling, I did read all the Harry Potter, and then, you know, she's full-on turf asshole lady. I don't think there's any defending or need to defend her or any, like, let's separate the art from the artist here. I want to take this as a moment to talk about that kind of separate art from the artist thing, which is why I'm bringing up J.K. Rowling and Sanderson and, I don't know, weaving this back to George.R.R. Martin and his sense of romance and the way he gets misinterpreted as a cynic.
Read 4.5 books.
Guys, should I try the blade itself again, or I don't know, what's Abercrombie got going in his closet? Because again, I don't know if I really want to. I don't know if there's anything. Somebody tell me why they like Joey Abercrombie is the way I'll put it, and I don't mean that as like a sell him to me. It's like I just genuinely want to know, like, are there cool ideas in there? Like, you can spoil stuff for me. I don't mind spoilers. This is something I'm kind of a big tenant on. Like, sometimes when things are spoiled, it makes them more interesting, or it makes it click. It's like, oh, this is what like it's trying to say as a piece of art. Yeah. But yeah, I think. Oh, he just put out a sequel. Sorry, I'm kind of going everywhere now, asking about like. I'm really wondering because I haven't heard Abercrombie's name in a moment, and I do remember giving away my copy of The Blade itself after trying it twice and just being like, nope, I'm removing this from my bookshelf.
It was that offensive.
Well, like, it wasn't offensive, it was just boring. I don't know, how is Abercrombie on like an ethical side? I want to say I got about halfway through The Blade itself. It seemed like it was like. I felt like it was split between, like, it felt like it kept trying to start, and it was kind of like a when were they going to the fireworks factory thing, and then I was like, maybe that's just the pace of the thing, in which case I don't think it's for me, and I don't know, I was trying to press too much into it or something. But having read all Harry Potter and then discovering Rowling's a TERF, I think you can use Rowling's brain rot to kind of go back to Harry Potter and just see where like the limits of Harry Potter's imagination actually are. If we're talking about how Sanderson is a squeaky clean, like, oh, I'm just a small bean, I don't condone my church, but I'm just a small guy. If we're talking about that kind of self-awareness or lack of self-awareness, I think through Rowling's lack of self-awareness, first off, the character Rita Skeeter, the journalist, she's clearly like transcoded in a very bigoted way once you catch on. It really suddenly you realize like, oh, Rowling's very much just being a judgy like asshole here. And then when you click with that, you start realizing how generally mean she is with physical appearances. I know, was it Sean? Plenty of YouTubers have done takes on this where they go like pretty in depth site by site, but like there's a lot of like just fat shaming in general, like she's just a bully. Like there's just bully brain going on once you go back to Harry Potter, knowing what you know about the author, and like if that ruins Harry Potter for you, I think you might be too married to Harry Potter as like a foundational piece of your being. What it should do is make Harry Potter more interesting, but also make you question like, how was I blind to this type of ideology, and how can I keep a lookout for it in the future?
Yeah, that's a good point. Her Asian character is named Cho Chang.
Right, all the extremely stereotypical ethnic names of her characters.
Love that.
Love it when writers are creative, you know.
And I remember even before like she went full turf rot, there being, you know, people pointing out her characterization of goblins was borderline anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm just really bad at this level, aren't I?
Yeah, you were.
I do have 18 death coins though. I mean, in addition to Cho Chang, there's also Kingsley Shacklebolt, and I mean that just speaks to her imagination too. Even King.
Yep.
Right after I say it, thank you, King of Mystery.
Yep.
How many coins does it cost? 5? Okay.